Hey everyone, this is Ben. Hey, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Semper Gumby channel. Now we are headed towards the part of the year where it's starting to get cool and the temperatures are starting to drop down, and it will only get cooler. And I like to go camping this time of year, and most of the time we use a fire to keep warm when we're around the campsite. And then when we go up into our rooftop tent, our camper, or our tent, we use something like this right here, which is a propane heater, this is a Mr. Buddy. It's a portable propane heater. But there are some drawbacks when you use this, because one, you have to use propane, and this element here gets very, very hot. And you know, if it falls over, it's supposed to shut off. But if you got this in your tent or your camper, an RV, or your vehicle, you know, you risk the chance of, if you have a pet, bumping into it, or if you have kids, or a sleeping bag coming up against it. So, you know, it does provide quite a bit of warmth, but you run into that risk of something burning. Another issue is this, you know, propane releases a lot of gas, and you have to crack open a window. And I used to use this in my van, and I used to use a carbon monoxide monitor. And you would never ever want to go to bed and fall asleep with this thing running while you are asleep. So I would have to shut it off, and then I would wake up in the middle of the night cold, turn it on, let it, you know, warm up the space, and go back to sleep. And then, you know, this thing also, because it's, you know, propane, it would leave a lot of moisture, not only in the tent or in the van. It would create a lot of condensation. So that's the thing about a propane. It's a moist heat, and I don't use this anymore. What I really like about this TB2, it's a compact toolbox design, and you know, it makes it easy for transport with this handle. It's sort of like a Pelican box hard shell, where you can pack away either in the back of your rig or in a space. And it's ideal for RVs, trucks, and outdoor adventures. And its space-saving design ensures hassle-free operation wherever you go. All HCalory and all other diesel heaters have what they call safety features. Now, this safety protection feature on this diesel heater has reverse connection, over circuit, overheating, and over voltage. Now, this portable diesel heater ensures that safe and reliable operation in any environment. Ensures safe and reliable operation. And always remember to exhaust the hose into the outdoors to prevent CO poisoning. So let's take a look at the unit. Here on the right hand side, you do have your diesel fill cap. It does have a little vent hole right there, but on this side you will see there is a rubber gasket. Make sure that's in place so you don't spill diesel when you're transporting. I usually transport the unit standing up. They say you can lay it down, but I don't trust it. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I like to transport this thing standing up. You do have a filter to catch some of the sediment out of your gas can if you fill that up. And then your nice handle that folds down. Pretty robust, thick, sturdy. And then of course your tabs to open the case. And then when you open it up, you do have your 6-liter tank in here. Now this 6-liter tank will run, I think it's 1.5 or 2 gallons. It'll run all night long. My experience, I have ran my diesel heater, it had lasted for 14 hours on a full tank of gas, and I still had about a quarter left, and that was on level 1 or 2 because it got super hot in the van. But what I recommend doing before you even fill the diesel tank, check your fuel lines, and it's this green line here, because sometimes in shipping it may vibrate loose. Here is the heater itself, and pretty much simple. You do have vents to help keep the unit cool, exhaust some of the heat. On this side, you do have another hose where it vents out some of the heat, but this right here is the exhaust hose. You'll hook up your metal hose here, and just be aware this thing gets super hot. It'll start discoloring, and it does have a muffler to go on that. I never used the muffler. It's not very loud at all. These units are pretty quiet, and I don't have a problem with it. You'll hear the fuel pump ticking, but once everything starts running efficiently, that ticking sound goes to a very minimal noise, so I don't really have a problem with the fuel pump. Of course, the back side, you do have more vents. And then on the other side, you do have your digital display controller. These controllers are, for the directions for it, are pretty iffy, but you can figure this out on your own. They do, I believe they all come in Celsius. I had to figure out how to get to Fahrenheit, or I just used a table calculator and knew what my Celsius temperatures were. And then of course you have your return, and then here you have your inlet, and then it has a filter. Most of them have a filter. We'll look in the box, and then your 12-volt power source supply here, or your 110 for your power brick. Now what I did is most of the power stations, if you're going to use the power stations and use the 12-volt supply, I would say almost all power stations on the 12-volt supply only come with a 10 amp power supply. And when you start these up, they take about 30 amps for the glow plugs. And many of the power stations will shut down. So just be aware of that. So what I did is I cut the 12-volt wire going to the cigarette plug, and I wired in some Anderson connectors, and I plug it in to the 30 amp side. And it only uses that for the glow plugs. Once the unit starts running and starts up, it'll throttle back down, and it'll run so efficiently you don't even need that 30 amp. But okay, first of all, this is your exhaust hose. And when I tell you when it got hot and everything, it is a metal hose where it is bendable, so you can adjust it the way you want, and it'll just screw right into this portion right here. Now this is the muffler that comes with the unit. So this is the muffler that comes with the unit. Now I don't use the muffler just because I just heard some stories or some threads that, you know, it'll foul up and anything like that. So I just usually turn the muffler or the exhaust hose to the side. Now if you do decide to use the muffler, if you look right there, that is a drain hole. So be sure, if you are going to use it, be sure to make sure that drain hole is pointing down to allow any kind of condensation or anything to drain out of there. Because if you leave it up this way, it'll accumulate and fill up with, you know, condensation or water. So right there, that little drain hole. It does come with brackets and clamps in the bag, where if you want to mount it and all that other good stuff. But like I said, I don't use the muffler. I've never used the muffler on any other heaters and never had any problems with fouling it up. Okay. Then on this side, this is your intake hose, and it'll just go right on your intake connection. And then of course your filter that will go screw right on to it, and then you just clamp everything on. There is a bracket that will bolt or screw in right up there to hold up the I don't know, oh yeah, here it is. I recommend using this bracket, if I can get to it, in this child-proof bag. I recommend using it because it'll be something like this to hold your filter and hose out of the way, and you can still get to your controller. But there is also a remote. So, and then it leaves it, you know, from it getting damaged or crushed as well. And they do have hose clamps for it as well. And then your screws to screw it in also comes in the bag. Now your exhaust, where your hot air will come out, you will have an expandable hose. These hoses aren't very long. What I recommend is going to your local hardware store like a Home Depot or Lowe's, and you can get the dryer hose, aluminum hose, and get a 10 feet. Especially, like, say if you got a rooftop tent, you can leave this down on the bottom and then run your hose all the way up. These hoses that they give you only are about 2 feet long. They're not very long. So I recommend getting a dryer hose or a vent hose, which is a lot longer. But that will go on to your heater exhaust. And then they do come with a little vent where you can put, I guess, if you have, like for me on my camper, I do have a 2 and a 3 inch soffit on there and a connection. So I will put this into that connection, and then I will connect this to that hose. So it makes it a lot easier, and then I can leave this unit outside and it'll pump hot air into my camper. It does come with a remote, an on-off, and then a plus and minus to adjust the heat or decrease the heat. And comes with a little keychain. I normally hang the keychain on the inside of the unit so I don't lose it on this little tab right up here. So let's talk about how to power up this unit. Now I mentioned about the 10 amp and 30 amp, but when you purchase the unit, you will get this cord. And of course, on one end, you're gonna get that to plug in to your unit. So we'll plug that in. And then at the opposite end, you're going to have 2 wires of your positive and negative wires. Now you can hook this up to a battery, a little 12 volt lithium 12 volt battery, or what I did, I don't have it here because I've had it hooked up to my charger, DC charger for my power stations, but this is what I'm talking about right here. Basically, you can splice these 2 wires to this cord right here, and once you splice it in, this end will go into your 30 amp power part of your power station. But for today's purposes, we're going to just hook this up to a 12 volt lithium battery or 12 volt power source. Alright gang, before anybody says anything about the red container, it is diesel. I just put it in a little red container because I'm not spending $20 extra for a yellow diesel container. Okay, it's heater 4. And it is running, or starting to run. We're just waiting for the fuel pump to kick on. As you can see, just give it a few minutes. So you're going to get a little bit of smoke when it starts the system up. Once it burns off all the stuff in the system, it'll be nice and clean. But it's heating up right now, and as you can see, the smoke is starting to clear. Okay, you'll hear the fuel pump ticking. And that's a quiet fuel pump. This is one of the most quietest fuel pump I've ever heard. I gotta figure out how to keep that screen lit. But you can see the fuel pump is ticking and powering up. Man, this thing is super quiet. I don't even think you need to put a muffler on here. Now I just brought it up with the remote to level 10, and let's see if that heater's on. Okay, we are at 79 and it's getting hotter. Okay, so it is ramping up, full speed now, 97 degrees, and it is still quiet. That is at level 10, 100 degrees right now, 104. Woo! $122. 126. Let's throttle it back down. We don't want to. We're going to let it run at a. You can also control your TB2 or any of the HCalory diesel heaters using a Bluetooth app. And this one right here is the air heater app, which you can just go ahead and download, and then follow the directions, and then you can control, start, stop, adjust the temperature with your cell phone, which makes it a easy, cool function to have. But you do have that remote control key fob as well, so you have several options to control this unit. Now I ran this thing for about 3 hours, and it smoked when it first started up, but after that it ran flawlessly. And I must say, this is the most, or the quietest diesel heater I ever had used. Now they told me, HCalory said that they improved it over the TB1, the original toolbox. So if you're looking to purchase the TB2 diesel heater from HCalory, go to their store on the Amazon website, and I'll post the link and description in the box below, but it is on sale for $229, and there is a $15 off code that you can use as well. And I believe they probably have a Black Friday sale going on coming up too, so just check them out on Amazon, and like I said, I'll post the links and description in the box below. And I want to thank you for sticking around and watching the video. If you're a first-time viewer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right up there, and then hit the bell notification, and then hit all notifications, and you'll get notified of all the videos that we put out, because it is diesel heater season, and we are going to be camping almost every week. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for supporting the channel. Also check on our Patreon page if you want to help support the channel as little as $3 a month. And We're going to have stuff for the Gumby gathering on there, locations, and all that good stuff. So anyway, until the next video, I appreciate you guys coming by. This is Semper Gumby out.